session. So we are now going to start recording our last AIP. And as I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. And I am going to change the presenter over to Sam and let her run it. So Sam, you're the presenter.
All right, great. Um, let's see. Can you guys see my screen? It's the PowerPoint Glenn just had up. Very large though. Yes. Okay, thank you, Ashley. So let's start. Glenn just gave a great introduction. Everything right now is about content. So we're just going to go over the whys, the hows, and some optimization notes for your content as you guys go forward with your business websites. So let's dive right in. First, let's go over why you should be using content as part of your digital marketing strategy. Currently in the digital world, content is king. So you should really be using it in your marketing plan. Are you guys using it? It can be doing these things to help you create a culture in your dealership, promote your brand, share your knowledge, and to be seen as a thought leader. I just want to touch on this really quick because I know some people look at becoming an authority in a field and a thought leader as a great thing because it is. This will not get you the concrete metrics you guys look for as far as leads and traffic. It's not as concrete as that. But if you're looked at as a thought leader, trust me, people will be coming to your site and you will see more traffic. You also will be able to build a relationship with your customers through content and increase your online visibility. It also helps you to drive long-term results. So for long-term results, I'm talking about if you take an hour today to write a blog post for your website, it is going to be something that will stick around for days, weeks, months, even years. So you might forget about that awesome blog post you wrote back in October, but guess what? It's still going to be driving traffic to your website, maybe even a year later. In fact, HubSpot says that 70% of traffic each month comes from posts that were not published that month. So you spend that hour today, you'll forget about it, and it will still drive traffic for you guys later on. So that's an awesome thing. So, excuse me, if those reasons to start using content for your business didn't sell you, here are some quick facts I'd like to share. 83% of research for car dealers specifically is done on dealership websites, not the OEM, dealership websites. So if you're creating great content that's informative, you're going to get some people, some shoppers on there. 50%, 57% of businesses have acquired a customer through their blog. Of those 57%, 92% of companies who blog multiple times a day acquired a customer through their blog. So you can see why content is such an important tool for you to be using. As you can also see from these statistics, fresh content matters, and frequency of blogging or adding content to your site really affects your results. So really, you want to be updating content as much as possible. So to you, I say, keep calm and write on. So yeah, Sam, these are great things to be doing, but how do we start doing it? How do we start seeing these results from creating content for my website? This is what you can do. Start a business blog. It sounds simple, because it is. If you guys need ideas of where to do this, check out these places. You can start a blog right on your main site. If your website provider offers this as an option, do it right there. I know websites like dealer.com has that option. And if you don't have that ability, go to WordPress. WordPress is awesome. It's simple to use, and it's super affordable. I think it's like under $20 a year to host a domain. I'm not exactly sure on that, but I know last time I checked it was pretty low. Blogger.com and Squarespace are also great places to go. I have not used those too much, but I know they get great reviews from other bloggers, so they're definitely worth checking out. Okay, so don't just blog, blog well. Yes, I know on the last slide I just told you, it's simple, just start a blog. And now I'm telling you not to just blog, but to blog well. If you are using a blog for your marketing purposes, you want to do it right. If you are doing it right, you will attract readers and therefore create brand recognition for your business. But this will only work if your content is quality and people want to read and share it. That's key, guys. But don't worry, blogging well is not as intimidating as it really sounds. Just remember that when you write, it is all about the reader. Right now, content is king because Google wants to drive its users to websites that will help them. So in order to be effective, readers must see that you provide value. It has to be useful. So how do
And
we do that?
can I just jump in here for a quick second, Sam?
Yes.
So, guys, when Sam's talking about um, writing, again, it has changed, and I wanted to stop just for a moment, and then I'll turn it back to Sam. Is I wanted to really hammer this point in, just because for a while, there was writing for writing's sake. It was content, as I said, it was content for volume's sake. So it was just writing anything with some links into it, and it wasn't for the reader, it was for SEO, it was for Google. So you were writing for Google. You need to change your philosophy of saying that if I'm writing this, no matter what it is, you're writing an article about your new vehicle, why, if I'm going to write it for a reader, what's the purpose of the article? So, and Sam will go through some of this, but again, I just want to hammer that in. It's not about volume. It's what she said. It's blogging well. What is, if one of my readers reads this, why? What do I want them to get out of this? Do I want them to understand the safety of this vehicle? Do I want them to understand the green aspect of this vehicle? I want them to understand that this lease program we're doing is going to save them money. That we as a company do this. See, always writing with the end reader in mind. If you're just writing for the sake of writing, people are going to start seeing it. And more importantly, Google is going to start recognizing that this content does not serve a purpose. Okay. And if it's not serving a purpose, it actually is worse than if you didn't have content in the first place. So I'll turn that back. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all exactly what it is. It used to be about SEO a few years ago, and now it's about providing value to readers. So things like solving their problems, answering their questions, and entertaining them, that's what's going to get you guys traffic to your websites. Not, of course, not the old ones, but some of the updated SEO things like optimizing your website, they're still necessary so that you can attract the right people, but quality content is key here. So let's go over a few of these real quick. Solving their problems. How-to blogs are awesome for this. If you write a post for your service center on how to change the oil in your car or how to change a tire, these things are going to solve your readers' problems. These are things that will teach them something. It's something they might be Googling because they need that information right now. And although this won't be driving them to your dealership that moment, you will be helping them. And then next time, guess what, guys? You're going to be the ones in their mind when they go to have a service issue that they can't do it themselves for. And you know what? Also, if they mess up changing their oil, if they can't follow the how-to blog correctly and they mess it up or they're just not confident in how they did it, they're going to come to your service center. So that's awesome. Another way to make it all about the reader is to answer their questions. A great way to answer customer questions is to use your in-house resources. I think this is something that's definitely overlooked. I attended a webinar recently where it was advised that whoever is blogging for a company should speak to their customer service reps and see what customers are asking. That sounds so simple, but you'd be amazed at how many people don't think of this. If a lot of customers are asking a certain question, you can take a blog and answer it. So go speak to your sales team, speak to your customer service representatives, speak to your technicians. I bet you can come up with a ton of great topics to blog about. It will be like an endless pool of topics that you could just answer questions for your customers. Actually, in that webinar we were on, they said that they asked their customer service representatives to come up with questions that they receive on a daily basis, and not one person came up with less than 100 questions. So there's 100 blog topics right there. Another great way to get people to read your posts is to entertain them. I mean, don't just list facts, that's boring. Tell them a story. Be personable. Be funny. You want to write in a way that makes your readers want to continue. And guys, if you're doing all of this, if you're teaching your readers something new, if you're answering their questions, if you're solving their problems, or if you just give them a good laugh, you're rewarding them for reading your content. And if you're doing that, you will not have to rely on your mom, like our little friend in the corner of the screen here, to drive some website traffic for you guys. It will take time, but your blog will start to promote itself. If your readers are constantly rewarded with great content every time they swing by your site, they will likely come back for more. And they might even start sharing your content, which would be a total bonus. So you know why to start a blog. You know how to start it. I know I just said it was all about writing for the readers, which it is. But there are some things you have to do, and I promised this to you earlier, some optimizing tips, and I'm going to deliver them now. But before I get into this, I just want to stress one thing. Make sure that when you're writing these blogs, you use call to actions that make sense for the blog. If you're doing this right, if you're blogging right, you will be adding a call to action in every post, because ultimately the goal is to get leads to get leads is the ultimate goal, right? So we want the call to actions there. People need to know what their next step is, and you want to tell them what their next step is, and when they follow it, you're in control. So if you're writing a how-to change your oil blog, do a call to action that's like, click here to schedule an oil change at our dealership. And you know what? They might say, hey, I just read this whole blog, but just going in might be easier than doing it myself. So that's a great call to action. You want it to make sense. All right, so now let's get into optimizing. Quality content is great, but optimized quality content is even better. So it's really important to note that Google's algorithms are in place to provide internet searchers with quality websites that answer their questions and provide an overall great user experience. This is why we focus so highly on quality content. But like I say here, optimized quality content is even better. When you write high quality content and you optimize it, you will start to reach the people you want to reach. So instead of some do-it-yourselfer reading your how-to tips all the way in Washington State, while you're here on the East Coast, you can have do-it-yourselfers near your business reading your how-to tips. So then those are the people who can click on your oil change call to action and get into your house. So how do you optimize posts? You start by deciding what you will be optimizing for. That sounds simple. This will be your piece's keywords. I always recommend sticking to one keyword for each blog post. If you are going to write that how-to oil change blog, for example, and you are in New Jersey, your focus keyword for the blog could be New Jersey oil changes, or something that people are actually typing into Google. And I don't know if you guys are playing around with AdWords and figuring out what kind of traffic can come to your website, but that's definitely something to look into when you're making your keyword strategy. You will want to make sure your keyword, phrase, or a variation of it is used about 4 times in the text, and it needs to sound natural. This goes back to, so this is an optimizing tip that goes back to creating quality content. If it doesn't sound natural, if you're just plugging in keywords and it's way too much and it's over flooding the text with that keyword, and it's so transparent that it was dropped in there just for a strategy, it's going to sound spammy. And sounding spammy is not very user-friendly. So you want to make sure that whatever keyword you choose, and it should usually be a geo-target, and the service that you're offering, whether it be New Jersey oil changes, New Jersey car sales, whatever it is, you want to make sure it's in that piece naturally. Other places you want to make sure your keyword is in your titles. If you have photos on the page, which you should because that makes it just visually pleasing for users, you want to make sure it's in the alt text. And you want to make sure that when you're linking, it's in some of the anchor text. and definitely in the metadata. Um, Keywords, photo alt text, metadata, all that stuff are huge for SEO, and they're still being used. And these things can be their whole own hour-long training or more. So I'm just going to give you probably my 5 tips to optimize your blog. So if you guys are looking at a blog and you want to know, is this blog correct? Is it optimized? This is what I would look at. Do you have a keyword strategy? Is there something you're optimizing for? And when I'm saying keywords, I'm meaning when people are typing into Google what they're searching for, so how to change my oil, are you using those keywords in your page so that when people search for that, your page is coming up, your blog post? So definitely always pick a keyword strategy because that's what you're going to use throughout the rest of these tips as well. You want to use keywords in the title of your piece. Towards the front is better always, and or the H2 or both, that's fine. And you also want to create a keyword-friendly permalink for that post. If you guys are on a main site blog, sometimes this is hard to do. Sometimes that option isn't there. But on WordPress, you can always do this. So you just edit the permalink and kind of make it something to do with your blog, but also have those keyword-friendly phrases in there. So you could have www dot your website name, and then the permalink after the slash will be oil changes in New Jersey or oil change tips from New Jersey, something like that, so that you're driving that traffic from New Jersey and catching the people who are looking for oil change tips. You also want to make sure you fill in the metadata fields when creating your post and use your keywords here. Meta titles are huge. They're a huge thing for ranking and SEO, so definitely make sure a keyword-friendly phrase is in your meta title. And just a quick tip, guys, try to keep these 65 characters or shorter. And of course, have your images linked to somewhere that makes sense and use alt text for those. So here are the things, some of the things I want you guys to take away from today. I want you to start blogging. Don't get scared. Don't get intimidated by this. Don't get held up because you're nervous or you don't know what to write about. The topics are out there and there are plenty of them. Once you start, you'll find the options are endless. I just want you guys to remember to create quality content that users will find valuable and throw some keyword targets in, and you're going to be on your way to better SEO. If you're writing for the user, if you're attracting people, not just because you're using SEO tactics, but because you're answering questions, entertaining them, and providing some sort of value, you're going to start ranking naturally, and it's going to be great. That was quick. I am going to turn this back over to Glenn soon so he can do an AIP recap of everything you guys have went over the past few weeks. But before I do, are there any questions about what we just went over? Okay.
Any questions from anybody so far? Where are we
All
here?
right. So I'm getting a not really, relatively straightforward. Awesome.
Okay,
I don't
so
see any
a
Glenn.
couple things. So you guys should be seeing my screen right now. Not really relatively straightforward. Okay, so again, a couple things that I want to just tie into with the content and why it's important and why I wanted to spend a little time on this is because some of the things that we get questions about or concerns, I would say, people in the positions you have that you're currently in your dealership, people will say, well, Glenn, if I'm writing a blog, why would someone come to my website? You know, if they're not looking for a car, why would they come? What's the purpose of my blog? Is it really going to help? And so my question or my response usually back to this is, why wouldn't you? I know it sounds like half of a smart ass answer, and I don't mean it to be that way. But if nobody's in your market doing it, why wouldn't you? If you want to be the person in the area that's seen as uh, a solutions provider, you're solving people's problems, you're talking about it. Why wouldn't you want to be it? Why wouldn't you want to promote it out there? Why wouldn't you want to market yourself? It's what I had talked about a few weeks ago in terms of marketing your reputation. Content ties all into that. It isn't just I got some great testimonials, but it's also, hey, we answer our problems. I've created this character in my dealership to be ask the service pro, ask the service advisor. And so you answer these questions. What is it? On the East Coast, New Jersey, we're getting snow. So a month or so ago, I would have been writing about what do I need to do to winterize my car? What should I keep in the trunk of my car? What happens if I get caught in a snowbank? What type? A million different things. And then you start leveraging because then people will say, well, what do I put on my Facebook? Well, why don't I put that on your Facebook or your Google Plus or on your blog or market it out or put it in your newsletter? Again, the more that you're seen as helping, the more that you're seeing that your content that you're sharing with your database and with the people out there in your PMA at large, if you're seen as someone who's giving, not taking, not pushing out just, hey, car price, car price, car price, and you're sitting there saying, hey, we're trying to help you. We want to educate you. As I said, some things to think about beyond content, beyond just the blog, is on your site. Why wouldn't you have something on your finance page or to talk about the process of what you do when someone comes? Here's, answering questions about that. And again, remember, video can be part of this content as well. Just because you're blogging doesn't mean it always has to be written. You can drop in a video and write a little bit about here's how you change a battery, here's how you do this. Now, if you don't think that works, I can show you countless dealers where they're getting hundreds of views on videos that are content driven walk arounds. Here's how you change a battery. Here's how you check your tires. Here's how you install your Bluetooth. Here's how you do this. Again, countless bits of content. And if you follow what Sam is talking about in terms of optimizing all of this content, it's going to show up in search. People are going to come to it. They're going to understand who you are in terms of a dealership. I'm providing you with information. I'm trying to educate you, working to build a good relationship with you, to break down that barrier of feeling like, oh my God, it's that car dealership and they're scary people. Again, this all ties together in terms of content. So again, when Sam talks about blogs, you could create a video blog. Okay. If you don't like writing, talk 2 minutes, 3 minutes or less. You don't need long ones. But again, answer questions. And then it ties into, as I said a couple weeks ago when we talked about reputation marketing, how do we take this and how do we broadcast this out? Is this is content. So again, I don't want to just think that blogging is the only content that you have at your fingertips, but the fact that you're here listening to this, you're a step ahead of your competitors. If you start making a very detailed action plan for the coming year to say, okay, I'm going to shoot for one blog a week. Okay. It doesn't have to be every day. I write myself for my own personal blog and I write once a week. That's my goal. Would I like to do two? Yeah, sometimes I have two. Sometimes I have time when I'm traveling and I can write a couple different articles, but I write articles in different places. So I dedicate myself to say I'm going to have one. So same for you. You might have a couple people in your dealership that can help provide content. And again, once you start seeing people get the views, it's easy to get some of the other people on it to make sure that they want to participate. They see it because it just fills it up. And as I said, a lot of times people wonder, well, what am I supposed to write about? I think Sam's viewpoint was absolutely right. Go into your service bays and ask all your service advisors, What are the top questions? What are the things people are asking? What's it? A million different things. Ask your, if you have a BDC, what models are people calling up about? What questions do they have? So again, if I answer their questions, and again, you always, guarantee you have somebody in your dealership who has a good sense of humor. Maybe it's they're just entertaining. They have a different perspective on things. Maybe you're doing a different event. There's always something that you can create a piece of content. And as I said, it can be written, it can be short on your social media, it can be videos. And again, the more that you get into it and look at content as how do I push out my message, which is you should buy a car from us, and here's the reasons why. I'm going to educate you on the model. I'm going to educate on the safety feature. I'm going to educate you on our process. Nobody else is telling you what their process is. I'm going to tell you what our process is. Here's what you can expect from us. Here's a video. Here's it. The more that you push that out, the more I think you retain your current customers because you stay with them. See what I'm saying? So if I'm got a customer and they just purchase from me, I would sure, if I'm doing something on my social media or on my website with tips, service tips, or tips about whatever, I sure as heck would make sure that person knows about it. Hey, make sure you come to our website because we're always putting tips in on service tips, things that you need to do, keep you up to date. You know, you'll get our newsletter, things like it's all this big circle of staying relevant to your current customers because really if we can do a good job, dealerships are constantly out there trying to get new people. If we really do a good job of retaining the people we have and providing value to them in tips, content, education, here's what you got to check for, here's what you got to look for versus, well, I sold you something, I got to go find somebody new. That's the way you want to use your content. So again, I thank you, Sam. Did a great job. Again, yeah, it is pretty straightforward. The thing is that not a lot of people do it. Go take a look at your competitors in your area, not just for your brand, but anybody who's selling cars within an hour of you. I guarantee you, not a lot of them are doing any blogs. Their social medias, eh. Okay. So again, be that person to differentiate. And this is I've been reading Gary Vaynerchuk's new book, The Jab, 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 Right Hook. And could not agree with him more to say content, this type of stuff is the tortoise, not the hare. This is not going to happen tomorrow. You're not going to all of a sudden become the expert. But if you're consistently putting out quality content, it will gain traction. It will gain traction. But it takes time, it takes consistency. That's the key. If you and again, start out small. Don't try to say, "Oh, I'm going to go out here and do it." You know what's going to happen. You'll do it, go, all out for a couple weeks and then all of a sudden you're going to burn out. Instead of setting it to say, "Listen, I'm going to write one a week. I'm going to get one video a week. I'm going to get one blog post a week. I'm going to go out and find a list of these things and map it out. This month, we're going to talk about boom. So the next 4 blogs, this month, we're going to talk about X. Next month, we're going to talk about X. Next month, we're going to talk about X and plan it out. And then it's not so overwhelming to you. Okay. So let's go now, just as I want to take a little bit of time here as we wind up. So, as I said, 2 things. One, please make sure that Answer carries email because we'd like to do 1, maybe 2 more little bonus sessions for you guys. If you'd like to participate, just send her an email, Answer email, like what topic you would like to talk about. What topic would you like our team to talk about with you? Even if it's outside of anything that we've already covered, doesn't have to be what we covered. Can be anything. We have the people who can talk about pretty much, even if it's from strict lead handling, we have those guys from auditing your stuff, your marketing. We can go through everything with you. Now, so in terms of a review, is there anything that you guys have gone over with the other educators? Anything that, after you heard it, now you're back in and in the day to day, something's working that you'd like to share, some struggles that you're running into, anything you'd like to talk about, any question about anything that you've gone over, or any question you'd like me to answer that you've been going through, if you've been trying to get more reviews and market reputation, how's it been going? What have you been doing? What are your struggles? So if you guys would like to share, I'd like to have a little bit of a conversation about anything before we wind up today's session. Let's see if regarding video. Okay, here we go. Regarding video, let me get my glasses on. Regarding video, this is from Scott. Do you have any advice, strategies, or tactics for getting your team to cooperate and see the value in putting these together, as opposed to constantly pushing us off and claiming they're too busy to get in front of the camera? It's always about the staff, isn't it, Scott? I got you. Okay, so here's a couple things. Very good question. In terms of video, make sure that you're set up. And what I mean by that is, and you may already are, but if you have a camera and you have a tripod, make sure it's on the tripod. Make sure you've designated one area, okay, one area that is going to be where we shoot the video. Sometimes what happens is that where this can go wrong is that, Scott, if I'm coming to you and say, hey, can I get a review make sure you get a review from the customer or whatever, and then person's ready to do it, and okay, where's the camera? I got to get it. It's not smooth. Okay, so if it's set up, it's ready to go, we know where it is, then that's where it goes. Now, sometimes salespeople will say, I don't have time to get off, too busy to get in front of a camera. Now, again, from a salesperson's perspective, then make it easy for them. Find one of your salespeople. So think of it this way. If I really want to just start off and get one video a week, just one, I want to get one video a week, a testimonial video, one a week. And you ask one or two salespeople that you're really close to, meaning that they get it or they like you or whatever, instead of trying to get everybody to do it, and say to them, listen, if you get somebody who just did a good thing or just get a car, buzz me. I'll come out and ask them. And then I'll take over and I'll take them over. I'll shoot it, make it quick, be done, whatever. So that's a good strategy. Start with one or two people to do it. Now, I saw it work at one dealership where on Saturday, which was a very, very busy day, they had one of the receptionists be what they called like a concierge. And so that person's job all day was to walk around and talk to people. And they were the ones who said, would you mind doing a video? Would you mind, talked about reviews. So it took the pressure off the salesperson who's literally finishing up one and all they're seeing is, I got to get on to the next deal. I got to go close some more business here at Saturday. So that's a strategy. So always start small, one or two people. There's probably, if I tell you right now, Scott, I'm sure there's one person, as I've been saying this, you go, they'd help me out. That's really how you got to see it. And again, it's really tough. They're not going to see the value, okay, unless if you're helping them out, meaning that when you're going to film this video of a testimonial, make sure to ask them, who was your salesperson? Who was your service advisor? Get them to say, oh, it was Ashley and she was fantastic. Because now you can go back to that salesperson and say, look, here's a video where they mentioned you, Ashley. So now we can optimize it for your name. And maybe, why don't we, why don't we put a link to it on, you can send out an email to somebody. Here's a link to the video to say, go look at what my customers are saying about me. See what I'm saying? So you got to sort of find a way to get into the salespeople's brains that this is going to help them market themselves. It's again, find the one or two. And as soon as they start doing it, then the herd mentality comes around. Okay. Let's see. We got amen. Thank you, Paul. So any other questions about anything? Again, video from website, SEO, any questions, anything that you guys have been trying that you've been banging your head against the wall a little bit? Let's see. Let's see, anybody else typing? So everything is just beautiful. Wow, we're good. Okay. All right. If nobody's willing to type out anything else, then up here, golden. Crystal's golden. All right. We like golden. So good. So I hope you got a lot out of this now. So let's move to here's your tasks ahead. So I want what you're supposed to do, and this is something now, and you may have already been working on this, but what you should be doing now is saying, okay, all the things that we learned, what are we going to do with it in 2014? What's my plan? You need to write it out, present it to your GM and your owner to review, talk to them and say, listen, you paid for me to go to this AIP. Here's what I learned. Here's what I think we should be doing. And again, the worst thing you can do is go in and say, we need to change everything now. That's disruptive. People don't like disruption. Go in and say, here's a couple things, and here's things that I would like to try over the next 6 months. Over the next month, I'd like to focus on getting videos. And this month, I'd like to look at our merchandising a little more. This month, I'd like to do this. I learned a lot in this AIP. I want to be able to apply it. Here's what we sort of did, so that your GM or owner, you have to report back to them and say, this is what we got. And then send us feedback. I'd love to hear from your GMs and your owners as well to say, this was valuable. I see the value in this. I appreciate this. So that's part of what you need to do. As always, I say this to everyone who I teach, as well as this is our philosophy at PCG. And we're here to help you. You don't have to be a client to ask for our help. You're part of the AIP. We look at it as you're part of the family. We're here to help you. So month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, don't feel like, oh my God, I can't call them up. Call us up. You don't have to be a client. We help. I talk to people. I talk to dealers every single month. I've talked to some dealers for 2 years. They have not paid us anything. We're not doing services for them. But they call up every once in a while to say, hey, can I ask you a question? Could you take a look at this report? I'm trying to do this. What's your thought? Now, sometimes that turns out to be work, but it's years down the road. That's all right. We are here to help. I want you to make sure that you understand that taking this and implementing this takes time. We will be checking in with you over 2014 just to check in and say, how's it going? So please make sure that you don't be afraid to pick up the phone. I know a couple of you, after the reputation management one that I did, called me up to ask me some questions. I did a webinar for one of your dealerships. You asked me to do it, so I did it for your team. Like I said, I have no problem. And it was very, very nice. The person said, well, how much do I owe you for this? I'm like, you don't. And so again, if we can be of service to help you guys, please let us. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure you're successful. We want you to be able to take what you've learned and implement it. Taking this from classroom to implementation sometimes is tough. And a lot of times, what Scott said is not uncommon. I meet restraints. I meet people who are pushing back on me. They're not helping me. I feel like they're throwing up roadblocks. How do I get around them? Don't suffer in silence. Pick up the phone and call us and let us help you. So as always, this is mine and Sam's emails. That's our office number. Some of you have my cell phone. Feel free to call. Connect with me online. Go on Twitter. My handle is at Side by Side Coach. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. Just direct message me if you need something. Let's connect. Like I said, if I can be of service to you, if Sam or anybody on our team can be of service to you to help you guys get better, please let us do so. So again, please make sure that you do this homework. Follow up over the next month. Let us hear how it went with your dealer principal or general manager. I'd like to hear their feedback. Please make sure you communicate with Carrie to let us know what bonus type of topic you'd like our team to talk about. Other than that, I hope you found the value in this program. I know past students have found this to be incredibly valuable. Please stay in touch. As I said, most of you are always on our newsletter list, so you'll get our newsletters, participate in our webinars, come see us at conferences, and have a great holiday, end of year. Finish the year strong, folks. Let's finish really strong and get ready for a great 2014. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Be well. Take care.